topics and more will be covered today. The Humanities Mass Communication Department at Norwalk Community College presents Person to Person, a show that highlights the unknown talent of Fairfield County. Now please join our host Craig McGuire as we meet today's featured guest.
To Person, a show that highlights the unrecognized talent of Fairfield County. Today's guest is a local crocheter who makes products that range from hats to scarves and who does it all out of her own home. Please welcome today's guest, Paige Knight. Thanks for coming, Paige.
Thank you.
Before we get into crocheting, can you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
So obviously my name is Paige. I'm 25. I am originally from Kansas, moved here about a year and a half ago. Now I live in Bridgeport, and pretty basic life.
We can all agree with that. So how did you get into crocheting?
So this was about 2 years ago. I was working at a call center back in Kansas, and we had a lot of downtime in between phone calls, and everyone did one of three things: either read books, played cards, or crocheted. So I ended up just asking some of my coworkers to teach me, and in between calls they would, help me figure out what I was doing, and it just really took off from there once I figured out what I was doing.
That's great. I certainly would not have expected that.
A lot of people don't.
Where do you go to get the supplies to crochet?
Usually I just go with Walmart because it's cheap. They have a pretty big selection. You can get all of your hooks, all of your yarns, a variety of yarns, and it's cheaper than most places, so.
Okay, well, you certainly seem pretty experienced in the field. What would you say is the most difficult part of crocheting?
I would say learning, because, once you get it down, there's not really anything difficult about it. It's really just muscle memory. But when you're first learning, it's really hard to get your stitches to not look terrible. Like, they're either going to be too tight, they're going to be too loose. It's honestly going to look like somebody tore it apart, to be honest. But once you get past that, then it's pretty straightforward.
So definitely an acquired skill then.
Definitely. Practice makes perfect.
Would you say you have any big influences on your style of crocheting?
Not particularly. There is one Instagram account that I follow called Olivia Laws Art, and she makes absolutely phenomenal pieces, and I am planning on buying some patterns from her pretty soon because she started releasing some of hers, and I'm really excited to make some of her stuff.
Oh, all right. Might have to check that out.
Definitely.
What would you say is the best piece you've crocheted so far?
I would say, honestly, probably that donut pillow. I haven't really done a whole lot of intricate pieces, mostly just hats, but I am working on a scarf and a cardigan right now. And I'm also kind of working on a Pop-Tart pillow.
All right. Well, sounds like you've got a lot on your plate.
A little bit.
What would you say is your favorite part of crocheting?
I would say it's a really good de-stressor, and it really helps me focus. Like, I'm pretty sure that I have mild ADD. I have a lot of trouble focusing on things. I cannot sit down and just watch a whole movie if there's any kind of distraction around. But I can just sit there and crochet for hours and not even pay attention to it.
Well, it definitely seems something like you're passionate about. Would you ever consider selling any of the things you crochet?
I actually have sold some of my pieces before, mostly just to people that I knew. I had an Etsy account for a little while, but I wasn't really selling enough to justify the shop fees on there. So right now I'm working on opening a shop on Store Envy instead.
Okay. Well, I guess to that end, would you ever see yourself pursuing crocheting on a professional level?
I would say semi-professional. I could see myself doing it as sort of like a side hustle type thing. I don't think I would ever have the drive to just sit there and make it like my full-time career passion, but I could definitely see myself doing it on the side.
Well, thanks for coming in, Paige. It was
thank you.
definitely interesting to hear about. Certainly something I don't know a lot about.
Right.
Today we learned about the wonders of crocheting and a local artist who makes wonderful creations. I'd like to thank our guests for appearing on today's show. Paige.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching our program, and please tune in for another episode of Person to Person.
This has been Person to Person. Thank you to our host Craig McGuire. This segment was directed by Ian Ward. I'm your announcer, Hunter Barnett. This has been a Norwalk Community College student production.